Hi Leos, if you want to come on in, have a seat. Here's your ink blot we did earlier in April, and we're going to flip it for perspective possibilities if you want to take a screenshot. So you can scry in your own time and terms for shapes or symbols that speak to your psyche and psychic senses. Leos, as always, thank you so much for being my muse, for holding space for me to share my insights and allowing me to be a guest in your aura. When you're ready, we'll add on tarot and oracle along the way, and we got the spirit box already shouting, so should anything else resonate. Let's take a moment, Leos. Close the eyes, cleansing the palette of perception, activating the abstract mind and ancient awareness to perceive and receive symbolic support. Yes. Let's go. I feel like I'm painting, Leos. I'm painting the roses red. We're painting the roses red. I feel like a lot of things are starting to come together in this, like Color Your World. There used to be a paint store. Maybe it still exists. I'm not sure. Called Color Your World. And it had all paint, right? Different kinds of paint. Wall paint, house paint, whatever. That's where I feel like I'm right now. Color Your World. And it's coming from a space of what might have been in the recent past or something from the past that has come up again, like something way in the past has re-risen, whether it's in the mindscape or in the heart space. And maybe people wouldn't understand if you were to speak of it, or maybe you have, and it's like, well, why are you still thinking about that? Obviously, it wasn't fully healed at that time, because wherever you're at now, I feel like the color palette's bigger, so you can apply different shades of healing to it. So that's how it's feeling for me, is it's rising up here and now for you to remember, recall, and it might seem out of the ordinary, but now your color palette is a lot larger. There's a lot more resources and tools, concepts, belief systems. Some have fallen away, like broken crayons I'm seeing. And now you can what is that? Paint by numbers, but I'm seeing it like more of a coloring. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you have different shades. Like you went from a regular crayon box to, like the big one. And it has all these other colors that you didn't have before. So whatever you've done something. And if anything is rising up in whatever context, personal, professional, romantic, platonic, etc., money, this, that, or the other. It's quite brilliant. It makes me want to sneeze a little bit. Hold on. Is it going to happen? Nobody looks nice when they're sneezing. Okay. It has passed. I see somebody in spirit like rubbing noses with you. So I don't know if that means something to somebody. I'm also seeing the Om sign in yoga. That may stand out with somebody. I'm also seeing a baby, a mother and a baby. If anyone's trying to get pregnant, I feel like I can see this baby being brought to you in some way, shape, or form. Now, whether this is you're trying to get pregnant and a soul stepping forward, or maybe if you've, not give your children up, but, maybe you needed some support or like children's aid, and they're being brought back, or maybe there's a separation or divorce, something along that lines, like getting my baby back. I don't know if it's an actual baby. In that case, it could just be my baby. Okay, so in the spirit realm or afterlife realm, better said, I'm a grandmother if you've had a loss of a small one or a wee one. And I want to say, if they're physically wee and small, their soul's not. So, but their innocence is pure. But it's almost like seeing a wise one or elder incarnating into a baby and then passing. And it's like, but but they're really a wise one. But nonetheless, this grandmother is presenting, we're together, and the grandmother's the one expressing the age. That's really quite lovely. So if that is helpful to anyone, and maybe that's in regards to a miscarriage or something that has happened before. But it's like rubbing noses. It's really, really quite endearing. I'm seeing stars. Yeah, there's stars. There's something very protective, and because of the way your ink blot is, like, I almost have a slight recall. I actually have no recall at all of the reading before. I tend to release it quite quickly. But because of the way it is, I feel like it almost doesn't matter which way I'm looking at it. So it's stepping forward again as this diamond of light. And that's where I feel, does it come through? Yeah, it does. Okay. And I'm seeing two heads talk to each other. What is this? I just lost them. They disappeared on me, like they just popped in ever so quickly. I'm going to see if I can find them again. They were talking.
Alexander.
No, I think they're gone. Oh, no, I found them. Okay. It's like, where's Waldo in this weird world? So, if you're seeing in, and you know me, I like to be a little bit creepy, but it's almost like a humor, if I may, versus a disrespect. But anyway, so you would see like one of those jars and like an old scientist, imagine, a movie, and it would have like a head. Okay. And now it's bringing me into a better way of saying it is, I think it's the movie Mars Attacks. And I think it's Sarah Jessica Parker that ends up being this weird head, or maybe it's the other gentleman. Doesn't matter. So there's these heads that are talking in jars, but I can see like their brain stems, brain stems kind of like floating around. But they're gravitating to each other. And because it brought me into Mars Attacks, whether it's a romantic partner or platonic, I feel like there is a connection, whether you're in it or it's coming. Yeah, and they're gravitating towards each other. Okay. And I'm seeing a flower petal. It's a rose. So this could be more romantic. But even if it's romantic in love of a relationship or love of your career, something along that lines, and it's sniffing, I'm seeing this rose petal turn into almost like a dog head, and it's sniffing out higher connections. Excuse me. And like, this sounds weird, but it's like sniffing the back of your head, or you to the other, like sniffing things out. I don't know, it's very odd. The interesting thing is that I'm also seeing some sort of unicorn. So maybe you're like having a career opportunity or a relationship, partnership, and you're like sniffing somebody out that to you is just like a unicorn, diamond in the rough. Or maybe you're the diamond in the rough, Leo. And you're like, oh my goodness. I was going to say, it kind of makes me feel like I've missed this feeling. I've missed being around another person, like these two heads in a container that just jive. You know what I mean? You're like, this is great. This is great. Leo's like, this is a great feeling in your reading. Encouragement has come up. Yep, okay. And see, it could be romantic, but it's not the point. That's not the only space of love. There's an encouragement to create this connection and to follow like your sniff. And I know it's a carousel, right? Yeah. I know it's a carousel, but it's like you're going to be flying like a unicorn. Like you have found a unicorn. Wide open has come through. I feel like 42 is also standing out. This could be a cycle. oh, I don't know. And when I see the stars in there, I'm like, oh, something's coming, Leo. Or maybe you're like right smack dab in the middle of it, and you're like, this is happening. I've got this new job, or I've got my babies back. I know my baby's at peace, and I don't know. Or you're looking for romantic love. Because you're coloring your world. Coloring your world. And I almost want to say, in a very funny way, I'm staying within the lines. Like, I feel like I'm painting or coloring very neatly, consciously, perfect word, meditatively. Like, it's a meditation for me to consider the palette of people around me, the palette of my profession. It's particular. Not to the point where if I wander outside the lines, I'm like, oh, devastated. It's ruined. No, it's like, okay, well, it's okay. And this has come through with some sort of something in the reconciliation, what we were talking about from the past, re-rising up. It's like a version of you, a portion of you, an archetype of you is stepping forward and saying, remember me. You might have thought it was lost. If you're lost, love, you are not lost. You are absolutely here now, and we'll do a spirit reading soon. But you're welcome to feel at home versus lost. New beginning is coming through. Okay, so Leo's, also spirit. I want to insert new beginning. See down here? But there's all this light in there. And I feel like that's any sort of shadow work or being stuck in the mud kind of feel, or just down. Like, again, maybe you've been painting with a lot of, between today and tomorrow. And I'm painting this window of opportunity for myself. It's almost like I can see, like with a crayon or a charcoal or a marker, and I'm outlining the things I want, vision board style, but I'm very tangibly doing it. I'm not concerned about my artistic skills. This is the through the meditative state that I'm in, as I'm drawing this window. And maybe I draw a person or more money or this, that, or the other, or it's a door to the spirit world, whatever the case may be. And I'm drawing this out, and I'm adding, I feel like there might be different doors, but I'm focusing on one fully, and I'm committing to that right now. So let's just say, for simplicity's sake, I'm looking for a partner or a profession. Okay, there's two. Pick one. Pick one of those doors. And I start drawing stick figures or, intricate things. And then I might write some words around it to better identify attributes about him or her or it in the industry, etc. Just some sort of attribute. And then from that meditative state, like I've outlined, it's almost like a physical expression of an outline of an idea I have in my head. And then over my next meditative moments or detoxing from stress, this, that, or the other, I start to consciously paint by numbers. But it's not, you're not painting by a number. It's just consciously painting it. I also want to note that could be a healing window. Maybe I have something irritating in my foot.
Are you okay?
Or a healing in my heart. So I outline this heart and I write the things around it. And then maybe I draw other little doodles and then color them in. Okay, so we have here Lorelei and my dear friend. And this is really, really endearing because it's making me feel like because you are emotionally willing to kind of sail something from the past. It's like a cord that's coming through. And it's almost like when I'm in this card and I can feel it.
What do you want?
feel it, and it's like how I'm still tethered to it, to this little sailboat from something from before. But I'm like, okay, I'm still connected to it. But through your own ways of wisdom and wonderfulness, you're able to draw it in, and it transforms into this deer of sorts with this gentleness, and then you can like kind of like ride it away and be like, oh, it's actually a tool for me to take me to the next. And not in an eagerness to be like to the next, but to a new beginning with that, with what may have been a hurt, healed, and then there's a freedom with it. And it becomes a tool for the gardener and the sea witch, which is interesting because the sea witch, I like, just by pure coloring, I want to insert it in and around there. It might have been something from childhood, or again about the loss of a child. And I want to take a moment to be really compassionate to that. Whether it's an inner child or a child connected to you, and I come into that Lorelei with the sea witch, I'm seeing it as an umbilical cord. They are still with you, but I can't get over the fact that they keep communicating. Their earthly age, it's like they were an old soul incarnate. I hope that is helpful. I don't know how to talk about numbers that don't exist. Okay. I'm being handed building blocks now. They're not building blocks. They're the windows that we were talking about. Okay, I'm not going to try and get in there. All right, so all these windows in her home, I think, will it come through? Yeah, there we go. Okay, remember we were talking about drawing all those doors and drawing all those windows of opportunity for a new beginning. And you're being encouraged by your own collective energy of other Leos strengthening you if you're going through this. So I do also want to note that the encouragement to, oh, I just heard that song. Is it You Can Fly High in the Sky? Reading rainbow, reading rainbow, reading rainbow. Again, it's about coloring, and I want to go into the flying card and wide open. Reading rainbow. If I can remember that, I'm gonna call your title that. But I say that, but I most of the time don't remember. You know what? I'm gonna write down reading rainbow. That's beautiful. Okay, so and remember we were talking about there's probably many. And it might have like a coloring book. I don't know if somebody's working on a coloring book, considering a coloring book, or maybe over time through all of these doors and windows that you draw and think about in this, that, or the other, you end up with like this journal, or collection is a better word, for you to see it and then like flip through it really, really lovingly, of all the pages of your path that you've crossed over and you've, tumbled over, this, that, and the other, and winding roads. Nonetheless, I see it as like way up here. In whatever way you're doing this, it doesn't have to be physical. They become your hermit lanterns, and it shine for like the next page, the next stage. Leos. Like as I'm in your auric energy, I feel squenches, and I feel like I'm getting just like this really nice embrace. Okay. We're closing out for Leos. Thank you so much for joining me. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't already, and share. Feel free to comment below if you see sense and feel anything. And complete gratitude for all those who have bought me a coffee or donated through PayPal. Like, it just warms my heart like worm soup belly. It's fantastic. Okay. So as we're reading Rainbow, education's on the bottom. It does say education, contrary to this lighting. That is what it is. Stormfield's magic prayer and sad embrace. If there's been grief about anything, and when I say grief, I mean sorrow. It's like those are the black or brown lines that you're using to outline things. There's that, yeah, it's black and white. It's like going from black and white to color. But in order to do that, and whatever emotional disappointments, devastations I've been feeling, Leos, your prayers are being answered. 32 and 42 really seem to stand out to me. It's almost like I can see it when we were talking about that recent past or something from long ago coming in. Like it's always existing. That part of me was always in a storm state. And now I'm walking up to it, and I'm planting flowers along the way, and I'm coloring things, and I'm realizing it's dusting. It's dusting. And my prayers are being answered. And once that storm eases and I can still sit with what was sad embrace. Like that was that embrace I was feeling. Because I don't know, or maybe I'm going to remind you, for those, if this is your story, how strong you are and need to be to do this, to color your world, to educate yourself, to read things, to follow your inspirations, because those are like little breadcrumbs of your prayers being answered to help your path. Piece by piece by piece, and you color it in every time you take a step. Every time you take a step towards something, even if it doesn't last long or you find it's not your jam or it's not helping, you still completed it. And it's reconciling something. It's reconciling the storm that I'm sensing it's actually behind me in the aura. So I don't see it. I don't know if I've been ignoring it or it's just from a different part of my life, part of my history. Read up on things, Leos. I don't know. Just follow your curiosity. Whether you're writing, drawing, or whatever you're doing to physically express this meditative state of your strength and bringing it forward to, maybe you're reading other people's books and you're picking seeds out. And you're like, that stands out to me. Education, that stands out to me. Okay, I'm going to let you go so I don't take up too much of your time. Gratitude galore. And until next time, I'll see you in May with a fresh ink blot. And we'll take a look and we'll take a dive into it. Thank you.